Derek Companies. Welcome back to another episode of Good Stories with Josh and Oscar. I'm Josh, and
I'm obviously Oscar.
Obviously Oscar. There it is. You've seen this before. You know what we're doing. It is that time of year where we are excited about the season. We're excited about Christmas. We're excited about all that takes place with family, a little bit of vacation that kind of comes in. Yeah. And, of course, what we want to do for you today is to tell some good stories. And so I'm going to turn it over to Oscar for the very first one.
Yeah, and, of course, I guess before we start, I have to tell this one. Why did the elf go to the therapist?
Do a bad joke.
You got to, man.
Okay, fine. Do a bad joke.
Why did the elf go to a therapist?
Why did the elf go to a therapist?
He was suffering from low elf-esteem.
Oh, my Lord. That cannot make the cut. Please continue.
It has to make the cut. Come on, brother. It's Christmas.
Tell a story before we lose our audience here. Go for it.
I got you. So my first story is about a boy named Abraham, who at the time was 12 years old. Him and his family discovered that without a bone marrow transplant, that he was not going to live. Now, the great thing is, fast forward 1 year later, and the successful transplant with aggressive treatment, he's doing well.
Nice.
And the good thing is that he learned that he was going to be a recipient for Make-A-Wish.
Oh, cool.
Now, a lot of you see him that they'll go to Disneyland, Disney World, but he didn't want that. He decided that he wanted to use his Make-A-Wish to feed the homeless every month for a year.
Wow.
He says it's always been a good thing to do. He says, and that's what he grew up doing. And so he wanted to get back to his roots to do what he was taught to do, which was very, very, very kind of him. So on the third Thursday of each month, with the help of the Mississippi chapter of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, who coordinates with local businesses and organizations to make sure that Abraham can fulfill his wish, and they set up for homeless to come and eat at what they call Abraham's table.
Nice.
He said that it makes them feel really good because some of them will come back and after they get their plate, they'll come and they'll sing to them.
Yep.
And he says it makes them feel real nice. Abraham is actually hoping to be able to continue this tradition afterwards. Mm-hmm. And I believe the story mentions that they are going to look at ways to help make that continue.
It's interesting that even in the midst of like that hurt and pain and suffering in his life, somehow in his being others-centered, something beautiful comes out of it for a ton of people.
Right. Yeah, he could always think about, oh, poor me, but it's not. Yeah. And he's only 13 years old.
Yeah.
So what a way to be thinking.
Very cool. Very cool. I know you mentioned, Oscar, Disneyland and all the things that kind of go in with these like Make-A-Wish vacations. I actually want to take you to Orlando. In 2020, USA Today said that the number one thing to do in December in Florida was to go to the Night of a Million Lights. And it literally is a million lights. There are 89 acres full of more than 166 residential villas that for 52 nights a year, they light up basically the entire area with millions of lights, and people pay to come in to get to drive through, see all the great Christmas lights. But the coolest thing about these villas is that there are families who are having all sorts of health issues, whether it's parents or children. And this nonprofit group, Give Kids the World Village, puts on this amazing show while also giving these people free vacations. Wow. They also come in and give them like theme park tickets. They make certain that they don't have to pay for any meals. They don't have to pay for any snacks. They get full access to all of the different things that are going on in the Orlando area. And every single year they do this. They have actually been doing this since 1986.
Wow.
And this nonprofit is so cool and it is so legit. For the last 15 years, they've gotten a 4-star rating on Charity Navigator. It is an amazing effort to take care of these families and to give them a great Christmas and a great experience.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. If you're anything like our family, we love to go see Christmas lights.
Absolutely.
So it's got to be something to actually watch.
Yeah. Hey, what's your next one?
So this one takes us to Mayfield, Kentucky, where Jim Finch... everybody's heard about these tornadoes that have hit, in the Kentucky area, and so he knew that they didn't have electricity. He didn't have water, which means there's no restaurants. So food might be scarce. So he set up a grill, brought some water so that he could feed people. He set up right in the middle of this devastation. Right, you can see the picture or the video where he set up right across the street. They ended up having a church service. Many people were very thankful for him to do that. What a part of this story also came out of this was Operation Barbecue Relief, who apparently they've been out at many of the disasters. They were at Hurricane Ida in Louisiana. Most recently, about a year ago, they were at the ice storms that Houston had. And so many of our own people may have seen this Operation Barbecue Relief. They've also helped out healthcare workers during the pandemic. Basically, they take these 18-wheelers with commercial barbecue pits, food, and first come, first serve. Mm-hmm. It's amazing that when there's devastation, there's still people that come out and show that there's still humanity.
Yeah, and I love the fact that these are people who are going all over the country. And so I think you're talking about showing humanity. They're not just holed up in their own communities. They're going to any community in need.
Absolutely. They're not just picking and choosing. They do what they can.
Yeah, where there's a need, they go.
That's it.
Yeah. I want to take you to something that is really just sometimes it's just the small things in life that make a big difference. And I think oftentimes we forget that, right?
Yeah.
And so this is a story that actually takes us to England, okay? And this is a story about Avril and Christopher Rowlands. This elderly couple, 43 years ago, went to their local, basically, nursery and decided to buy a fir tree. It was going to be their Christmas tree. They spent £6 on this tree 43 years ago.
Which is about $36 today.
That's right. Yeah. So what they did, the fact that you know that is really impressive.
Yeah.
He's an accountant. This is what he does, right? He even knows how to do exchanges with currencies. So anyways, what they did was they planted this tree. It became their Christmas tree. It was 6 foot tall. They planted it into the ground, so it was a little bit shorter than them when they finally got it fully planted. And 43 years later, it's 50 foot tall.
Wow.
In their front yard. And what's really crazy about this little village that they live in, it's called Inkbarrow, okay? It was rated one of the darkest places in all of England because it has no street lights in the city. So during Christmas, they use a cherry picker because this couple's like 75 years old now. They use a cherry picker to put these lights on the tree. They have more than 3,000 lights on this tree, and it has become a village tradition for these 2,000 people to come over to the Rowlands house and to watch them light up the tree every single Christmas. Mm. They were able to do it last year as well. At least they did as much as they could last year during the great craziness of the pandemic stuff. And it just, I think, goes to show you over and over and over that sometimes it's just the little things that bring us together and allow us to enjoy each other.
And just that something that you think is insignificant at the time turns out 43 years later to be something that people come to flock to.
Yeah. And for them, it just started out as we wanted a Christmas tree and something in our front yard. Yeah. Hey, we just want to finish off by saying thank you so much for your year of work. Thank you so much for the ways in which you've cared for each other. We hope that Good Stories always brings you a little bit of encouragement. And I think by finishing with kind of that story about little things, go do little things of good work for people. And I think it can grow into something pretty awesome.
Yeah, and we'd like to thank you from the bottom of our work family and our own personal families for allowing us to come to your computers, your cell phones, however you watch the show, and letting us cheer you up with some good things.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll just finish with Merry Christmas.
Yep, and we'll see you in the new year.